In order to feed for success, the key things we're looking at in silage analysis is your dry matter, your energy, your protein, your NDF, how well it's fermented in terms of the pH and lactic acid. We'd also take into consideration the ash content, along with what minerals are present and not present. We've taken our silage sample on Angrove Farm. We're now going to take it to the lab, spend a little bit of time getting it analysed so that we can properly feed for success for next spring. I've also asked Trouw Nutrition to come and join us and talk to us about the finer points of mineral nutrition in dairy cows. Jim, thanks for joining us.
Very welcome.
Jim, why is it important to test the forages on farm going into the winter period?
Yes, I think testing is one of those things where if you have information, you can use it. If you haven't measured, you can't manage. So from that point of view, knowing what we have in our forages, whether that's the macro minerals or the trace minerals, we then have something to build our nutrition program of what we want to do with the cow coming up to calving.
And Jim, in terms of the mineral profile of silages, how have they changed in the last 5 or 10 years?
Interestingly, over the last 5 to 10 years, as our move towards driving grass production, we have increased potassium use, we have increased nitrogen use, we have reseeded more, we have more rapidly growing forages. And because of that, we have, in some cases, higher levels, especially of potassium, but also lower levels of trace minerals, because the more rapidly growing grass takes up minerals less quickly.
So Jim, once we have the results back, how can we then use them to successfully manage our dry cows so that we've no issues in the springtime?
Right. Well, the key element in this is to keep an eye on potassium. But there's another 3-letter abbreviation in there called CAB, which is the cation-anion balance. Really the balance between the cations of sodium and potassium and the anions of sulfur and chloride. When you get that figure, you want it as low as possible. Ideally down into the low hundreds. That allows us to see whether or not this cow will have a challenge in being able to manage her calcium. And you and your team can bring that information to the farmers and explain to them where they sit and whether or not they need to take other mitigating measures to offset a problem.